Hi, good morning. Uh, this is our factory director, Mr. Katie Rio, and he would like to say hello.
Hi, I'm Katie. Very nice to meet you. Even though we are video call, I'm very nice to meet you.
And Mr. Moon, our CEO from Korea, responsible for Vietnam and Indonesia operation. He's also visiting. Yeah, thank you. This is our meeting room and showroom. When we have visitors, customers, we will accommodate them here. This is our production control department. The production director responsible for controlling the production and other related departments to production is being controlled in this department. This is our warehouse area. This is the entrance. When we have our incoming material shipments, we will do unloading in this area. And first, we will go to our warehouse office. In this area, we do the shrinkage testing area. The relevant staff will make a square 50 by 50 centimeter length, 50 width 50 centimeters, and they will record the data based on the roll numbers, lot numbers, all the data we can keep for our later use in case we have any issues with shrinkage. So after we finish the shrinkage, we will keep it in a library until the bulk production is finished. Also in this area, we make the shade cutting from each roll and keep a band of shades for every style in this way. So each roll we can see if it is in the same shade or different shade. If we see a different group shade, we can group it again and use it for packing, because we have to pack based on one shade in one carton. Also, here is the place we do the fabric weight testing, because there's a contracted weight. Using this machine, we will cut a standard circle and we will record what is the weight of this fabric. The data mentioned here is the lot number, contracted weight, the average weight, so and so forth. And here is the calibrated scale where we use to check the standard fabric weight. This is the area where we store our fabrics, and each rack we have allocated every tier of the rack with a unique number, and each tier will contain different fabric for different customers. Those information are clearly mentioned here, manually of course, because we have some workers in the warehouse, so they have to pull out the fabric whenever we need to issue the fabric to the cutting section. Each fabric consignment we will do a fabric inspection for 20% of the lot, and if this 20% of the lot is passed, we will mark it as pass, and one consignment belong to one style will be stored in one tier with a unique identification number. This is where we do our fabric inspection based on the 4-point system, and these are the guidelines to identify how many points are being allocated for each defect, and this is our standard operating procedure for fabric inspection machine. And also there are more guidelines we are showing for fabric inspection process, and there are the process and procedure for fabric inspection. After the fabric inspection is passed, we will do the fabric relaxing. We will do it using this simple machine. As per the knit fabric requirements, we have to do fabric relaxing and keep it for 24 to 72 hours depending on the fabric composition. So before the bulk production happens, we will do relaxing like this, and once the fabric is relaxed, we will transfer it to tiered rack like this. Once the fabric relaxing is done, this is one tiered rack where we keep the relaxed fabric. As you can see here, we will show the details related to the customer, style number, color, and the time of relaxing. So the staffs who will handle the fabric will know what time we have started relaxing, and if it is enough 24, 48 or 72 hours before issuing this fabric for cutworks. Also, we have a sponging machine where we apply steam and heat and pressure to stabilize the shrinkage. Since we are working with the knitted fabrics, there are issues where we can see related to the shrinkage. Shrinkage is not stable, or we have uneven shrinkage between different rolls. So in case we find out that kind of fabric, we will do a proper analysis and we will run through this machine. So once the fabric has gone through this machine, the shrinkage will be stabilized. As you can see, we have a process for stabilizing shrinkage using this machine. So the relevant staff, they are familiar with this process and they will follow based on each fabrication. As an example, if it's cotton, there's a different standard. If it's polyester, there's a different standard. For wool, spandex, rayon, for different fabrication we have different standards, so there will be no any wrong handling for each fabrication. Here is our sample room. This is the place where we get the tech pack. Can I see the tech pack? We get the tech pack with translation into the local language, because most of our staff, they don't know English well. because we are in Vietnam. So we will refer the tech pack given, and based on the specification, our CAD team, they are arranging the pattern pieces for the garment, and then they will measure. If the measurements and shapes are not in order, they will adjust. So this way they will check all the measurement, which takes time. So, and when they are satisfied with the correct measurement and correct shapes, they will finalize the pattern, and then they will pass it for grading. So when there is the final pattern for the block, like the sample size, example medium or small, we will provide the staff who handle grading with the graded spec, and based on that, the relevant staff, they are doing the grading per each size. And this is where we do our 3D modeling and presentation based on the pattern provided and the fabric profile provided. Based on each customer dummy, we will arrange. So based on the draping and the requirement customer asking, we are preparing the 3D presentation and we are uploading to the file share or closet, depending on customer. After the pattern is prepared, they will send the pattern paper pieces to the cutting staff in the sample area, and based on the pattern pieces, they will cut the garment. Based on number of component one garment has, all the pieces will be cut like this manually to make sure the accuracy is there. After the cutting is done, the sample room staff, they will arrange the cut panels, the pattern, as well as the QA file and hard patterns and another components and the original sample needed to follow to make the sample, and then we will transfer those sample packages to the sample sewing operators. When they receive the sample package, the sample sewing package, they will check the materials based on the QC file provided, and if there are any special instruction to follow when sewing, of course it's being translated to the local language so they can understand properly. So following the comments provided by the customer or our sample TD team, they will follow the file first and they will start making the sample. This is one sample in process. Once the sample sewing is finished, the sample is being passed to the sample room quality checkers. They will check the workmanship, SPI, the trimmings, label positions, and all the specification related to the garment, if it is acceptable to be sent out. When the sample checking is finished by the quality controller, quality checker, sample will be passed to the pressing section. They will press the garment, and at the same time they will check the required measurement specifications. After making sure the specifications are met, they will press the garment nicely and the garments will be passed to fitting. Fitting is done by our internal TD team and TD sample room manager before sending out to the customers. Once the pressing, the ironing department, they are done pressing, they will pass the samples to the TD staffs. TD staffs will check the garment for measurements, of course for workmanship once more. Once the measurements are being verified and it's when they are sure it's within tolerance, then they will check the fit and balance on the customer dummy. Each customer we have designated dummy for Missy or woman, or it's depending on the customer requirement. So they will fit and check the fit and balance on dummy for every customer like this. And when we make sure the fit and balance is good, we will make photographs from 4 positions: from the front, from the right side, from the left side, and from the back before. This is where our bulk cut works happening. So we have our bulk orders and we have our bulk cutting plan. So they prepare for each cut table how we are going to cut the garments for bulk. So based on this cut plan, we have our bulk cutting assortment and the pattern preparation in this area. So when our sample room team share the bulk pattern file, our bulk cutting CAD operator, they check the bulk pattern is in correct measurements with correct parts, correct shrinkage added based on the actual garment, and then they will transfer it to make the bulk cutting marker. When we are ready with the bulk cutting marker, our staff will transfer the marker to the bulk printing plotter, and we will prepare the bulk marker from this plotter in actual cutting width based on actual fabric width. When the bulk cutting markers are ready, they are labeled with the style number, the cutting ratio, the cutting quantity, and the laying sheet, and it is allocated for each production line, which you can see the number here. So every day this happens as a cycle. So each production line will have the current running style markers ready, which is being processed by the bulk CAD team. When we have our bulk marker ready for cutting, the spreading staff will arrange based on the marker length, which is provided by the CAD team, and it's happening based on how many pieces we have planned to cut, how many plies in one layer. All the information is provided to them on the marker. So they are following the marker and doing the spreading process according to the marker. Before, what you have seen is the spreading manually. Now we are showing how we are doing the spreading using our semi-automatic spreading machine. Fabric is loaded here on this platform after relaxing and keeping for enough time to make the relaxing happen, and then it spreads fabric automatically based on the marker length and the setting we have provided to the machine. But since this is semi-automatic, when the spreading length is finished, the cutting workers, they have to arrange the start point of the ply manually and then let the machine run based on the set marker length for spreading. This is one bulk cutting of Talbot style. When after the spreading is done, they will lay the marker provided by the CAD team, and then there are quality controllers who are checking if the actual pattern is matching with the provided markers. So when it's fully verified, the patterns and markers are matching, they start the cutting process. and the cutting process we do manually. And as you can see, they are wearing the safety gloves for own safety, because this the cutting blade is a very sharp blade to cut through many plies of fabric. So in case an accident happens, they will not be harmed because they are wearing the safety gloves. What you can see here, how the bulk cutting happens manually using manual cutter machines. This is how one part of the garment of the cut bundle look like. Here we can see the style number, and if there's a body missy, petite or woman, and also what part of the garment being cut as this part, and what is the size, and some internal information to control the details when we input into the sewing line. Also, as you can see, some measurement changes after the sample approval also being mentioned here, and you can see after QC verified, they are putting on a chop that the pattern and the marker parts are matching in size and all the other aspects. And also after cut, the cutter number, they will mark who have cut this bundle for us to identify if there's any quality or some issues later. We can address to the respective cutter if they have done any mistake in the process. So this is where we do attach the fusible interlining to the fabric for the parts which we are using interlining inside. Parts like collars, plackets, where we have some difficulty to handle in just normal fabric form, we are using the interlining, the fusible interlining. So this is where we attach the fusible interlining to the fabric. So it's being aligned together and it's passed through a pressurized and a hot roller. So the bonding process will happen inside the machine. And here in this display we can see what kind of temperature, what kind of pressure, all the data based on the interlining testing report. And also if there's any emergency or any malfunction happens, we can stop immediately. Also we can stop with a delay when we are just about to finish. And as you can see here, we have the trim card and trim card for fabric, what kind of body fabric, what kind of lining fabric, and what kind of interlining we are using. So before, when they start the process, they will make sure they are using the correct interlining based on the trim card provided to them by their supervisor. So here it's being like checked 5 times by different people if we are using the correct material. So by checking 5 times, we are eliminating the possibility of making any mistakes. After cutting the bundles, we are doing the numbering process for each bundle, each ply. This is one very important process to avoid the color mismatch between different panels. Example, our sleeve numbering, if the sleeve number is 10, the front body should match that sleeve number 10 when we input into the line. So that is the reason we are arranging the numbering on each ply of the bundle. So when the numbering worker finish numbering, they will make one bundle. For each bundle, They will classify what part, what number, and then it's coded. This internal coding will help the production line to identify how they are going to input. It shows the fabric lot number, how many pieces, what is the cut number, what size, what color, and three last digits of the style number which under cutting. After bundling and numbering happens, the last process in the cutting is to check the cut panel works, if there are any defects, if they are matching the patterns, if they are matching the shapes, if the notches are in place. All these aspects is being checked by the QC. So this is the guideline we provide to them, and also we give them an idea what kind of defect there should be and how they can identify the defects. There are more defect categories, as you can see, and this is how they do the bundle checking process. They are checking each panel. As you can see, they are checking for visual defects on each panel, and if they find any defects, they mark with a sticker, and they will reject the panel or they will send to their supervisor if this defect can be repaired later or not. So after all these processes happen, when the cut bundle is QC passed, the quality control is passed, they will store in an area like this where you can see the style number and the color. Color is a code, like for internal purposes only, and what is the quantity by size in this cut. So they will store here. When the production line needs more input panels, production line will send the request to cutting, and cutting will get the stock ready prepared here, which is being checked, layered, cut, numbered, and QC checked. And this is the last step of the cutting department. So this is a small video clip of the production line. We are running Talbot's production at the moment. So this is the start of the line. Here we have the production instruction, including the garment quantities, garment construction with Vietnamese translation because our workers cannot understand English, and also more instruction about the label placement, the size specifications for each body, and this is the approved accessory and fabric details. It's being approved by several checkpoints, so nothing is missed. Also we have the production machine breakdown, the operation breakdown per each machine, and these are the garment cut components ready for input in the line. And here, this is the starting point of the line. The garment components, after cutting has been done, they will bring here by each bundle, and they will check according to the requirement per garment, and then they are cross-checking the size based on the size charts given by the CAT department, which is being checked and approved. And this is the style number, and these are the size for each panel for checking. And here we are doing the preparation before the input process for different cut panels. Here they are ironing, so the sewing operators can do the sewing process more accurately. So with folding, they are doing ironing, so it helps the sewing process in the next machines. These are the process per each machine. Each part is being sewn like this, and when one part is completed, then there's another part is being completed in another machine. To make one full garment, there will be in average about 30 to 40 machines and manual operators. So each machine have responsibility to complete one part of the garment. So here we have the quality checking, the checker, the roving QC. She's going inside the line for to check each machine for 3 to 4 times a day. So they are cross-checking the accuracy of the measurement, quality of sewing, stitching work, and other parameters given by our SOP, internal SOP. And after 30 or 40 machine operations, the completed garment will come here, and excess thread and other things need correction is being checked and trimmed here. And then it will go to the final appearance end-line checking for defects and workmanship, presentation. We are checking all the garments being completed by the line every hour, every day. The finished garment is being compared with the approved sample which we display at the end of the line. So anyone who wants to have a look at the approved sample to check, cross-check anything against any construction, they can refer the garment which we are keeping here securely. So these are the internal control documents attached, so everyone can know this sample is approved. End of the line, after the final end line checking is finished, the ironing process is happening. So they carefully arrange the shape and iron, so the final garment after packing there will be a good shape. Since we have an output about 300 to 400 pieces a day, so we will allocate about 5 or 6 ironers to complete the output per day. And after iron, we have like at the place we do the ironing, we have the sample which they have to follow for the ironing standard. And when ironing process is finished, there's another quality checker. They are looking at the appearance and garment shapes. If they are acceptable to pack, this is the last checkpoint before it goes into boxes. And here are some QC SOP and guidelines which we provide to them, so they have to follow exactly what the company has given them as the standard operation procedure. After appearance checking, we do the measurement checking. So it makes sure that the garment dimensions, that the measurements are as per the buyer provided spec, which is being displayed near the quality checker. This is where we are conducting one final inspection before we ship the goods. Under AQL standards, the QA has picked up the garments here, and they are checking each and every garment and making sure the quality standards are within the AQL standards prior to shipping. These are our quality assurance allocated room for each customer. As you can see, all the customers we are handling at the moment, we have a room for quality assurance jobs, which is being used by our agents and customers. This is one area which is very crucial for safety of our production. This is the needle control area. If there is any needle breakage, the relevant machine operator has to bring the fractions of the needle being broken, and it has to be submitted to this secured room to make sure there's no any metal contamination on the garments. So in the event they can provide the full fractions of a needle, only the staff related to the needle issuing will issue a new needle. And here you can see the process regarding the needle and sharp tool control, which is in local language, of course, because majority of our workers are not speaking English. So here what you can see the process. This is how they control the reissuing of new needle. If the full fractions of the broken needle is being produced, only in the event of producing all the fractions, it will be issued. If not, there will be sweeping to find the missing fractions as per the safety manual. This is the area where the garments will come after ironing process is finished, and here is the area to control the packing and our AS and EDI sticker after the packing. But after iron, the garments will move to this area for poly packing. Garments will be folded, put in polythene bags, and garments will be attached with the ticketing, like the price tickets, in this area. As you can see, we have different customer orders in different areas. The garments after ironing will be passed through the needle detection machine before we fold the garments and putting those into the poly bags. So the process what you are seeing right now is the garments are being passed through the needle detector machine and make sure there are no any metal objects in the garments before we put it in the poly bags. This is the area where we do the dehumidification. For some customers, we have requirements that the garment humidity should be under certain level. So for those customers, after processing, we will keep the garments in a temperature and humidity controlled area for a certain period, so that garments will have no humidity when we go put those garments in the poly bags as per the buyer requirements. This is the machine we use to control temperature and humidity. This is where we monitor the temperature and humidity, and also related the personnel responsible for maintenance, they will do daily checks to make sure that our process is within the standards. Once the dehumidification time is passed, those garments will be passed into an area where the humidity and temperature is controlled with air conditioning. Also, we are monitoring the humidity and temperature in this area separately. And this is what we are using to make sure after the dehumidification is done, the garments are having the proper humidity levels before we put it into the cartons. Once the garment folding and poly packing is finished, those will be separated into each size, each related size, and put it in the bins with the complete packing. After that, the packing staff responsible to pack the garments into cartons, they will make the carton, they will mark with the corresponding size. After that, they will count garments carefully to make sure they will put the number of garment within one carton, which we have designated with the packing list, which we share with the customer later. After the cartons are being packed, we barcode them, we mark them properly, and we stack them together, belong to each customer, each PO. It's separated by customer, PO, body, and also the EDI stickers, which we generate from the system after packing and generate the packing list. And we will keep the cartons as stacks here until our export happens. Once the carton packing process is finished and the final inspection by our quality assurance team is done, which we will show in a separate moment, these cartons are ready to go out, and here is our loading bay. The export truck will come to this area, and finally we will load the garments into the truck before we send it out to the port or the relevant freight forwarder. This is the area where we have our special template machines, where we use to make complex operations, where we have to use a lot of time when we are using manual labor. So we will feed in the program into the machine. This machine is programmable, and once the program is done, this machine will do the work of 2 or 3 manual workers within few minutes. The only requirement is we have to allocate one person to make sure the machine is being fed on time and correctly.